packet tracer, the goal is to configure secure passwords and SSH. As you can see here in this topology, we have a PC that is connected via console port to a router RTA and is directly attached to the switch number one. Now our instructions, as always, will be attached to this packet tracer exercise, and I will be following the instructions as per IP addresses as I show here. So let's start configuring based on the requirements. The first is that we need to obviously we need to have IP addresses distributed to the all devices so they can communicate to each other via SSH. So the first thing that we need to establish is that we have an IP address our computer here. So let's just confirm that our computer do in fact have an IP address, which is does not. So let's go ahead and copy it from the configuration file, and we are going to paste it right there. Subnet mask is a class C, so it's a 255.255.255. The gateway will be the router IP address, so we need to establish that here. Okay. Now we need to configure our router, and to do that, using the console port, we need to go to our terminal and pull the CLI from the router. Okay, so first thing that we need to change here, if we want to configure SSH, is number one, our router have to have a device name. It needs to have a domain name. We need to have a account for the user, and we need to also after that we need to generate the crypto key, the security key, the encrypted key that we'll be using in order to connect to the SSH interface. So let's, number one, change the host name. So enable, we go to configure terminal, and in the global configuration mode we're gonna change the host name, and the host name for the router is RTA. Okay, now we need to connect, well, basically we need to also, after that, we need to make sure that we have a domain name. So the domain name, according to configuration, is going to be ccna.com. All right, so let's go ahead and IP domain name, and we're gonna use ccna.com. Okay, all right. Now, to set up passwords or secure password, we want to first make sure that all passwords that are in plain text will be encrypted. The command for that is going to be the service password encryption, and that will take care of that. Now every password is going to be encrypted. Okay. So for the IP address also, let's see which interface are we dealing with. It's gigabit 00. So we connected to gigabit 00 and we need to go to that interface 0/0 IP address. And the IP address for the router is the 172.16.1.255.255.255.0 will be the subnet mask. All right. Now, according to these requirements, we need to set the minimum password length to 10. So we do that in global configuration mode. So we exit out of here and we do that by security password minimum, and that's gonna be 10. Okay. Now we need to set up our password. So the way I like to do that is that I will create my account and give it a password. So let's go ahead and do that now. Host, no host, but username. Username, Hector. And I'm going to enable, okay, and secret. Let's see my secret password. Not the best password in the world, but for this demo, it will do. Okay. Now, when connecting to SSH, we need to have a enable mode password as well. Uh, yeah, so we're going to go to line on the console, line console 0, and then password. Okay. Very well. And now you need to activate that password in that interface. Okay. Very well. Now that we have that for the console port, we need to also do the same for the enable mode. Okay. All right. So we have that for the enable mode. Okay, so another requirement is that we need to suspend or disable the domain lookup. So again, in global configuration mode, no IP domain lookup. very well. Now we have already IP address, we have our domain name, we have our host name or device name, we have our account created. Now it's time to generate the encrypted key. So to do that, we're gonna have to type crypto key generate RSA, and after that, generate keys modulus, and we're gonna go to a 1024 crypto key uh, length, and that's already configured here, and it looks good. Now we have to go to the interface that will support SSH, and that will be the BTY line. So line BTY from 0 to 15, so that will cover all of the virtual interfaces, and we're gonna have to transport input SSH, okay, and login local. Okay, now everything should be good uh, to connect via SSH. Now, in this packet tracer, another requirement is that we need to specify the maximum time that we're allowed to be idle in the virtual interface. So we need to specify that we want a timeout for this interface. That command will be issued within the interface subcommand. All right. So since we are already here, okay. So the timeout is going to be in minutes. So 6 minutes. That way, if we, for whatever reason, we walk out or we uh, keep the command line on idle for 6 minutes, then the device is going to kick us out and require that we log in again. All right. So that's it for this over here. Now let's save that configuration mode. So let's save that configuration copy. Okay. Copy wrong configuration to start startup configuration mode. Yes. All right. So okay. We should be good, except that we need to turn that interface on. So let's go to interface gigabit 0/0. I can see that it's still down. So not shut down. It's coming up. So what I'll do now is that I will go ahead and this I will disconnect the, see if I can disconnect. Yeah, I can. So let's see. You want to delete? No, I don't want to delete the computer. I just want to delete the cable. All right, very well. Okay, so let's get out of the terminal. Let's go to the command prompt and let's see if we can connect via SSH. To connect SSH to a device, you will go and type SSH, okay, hyphen L to specify local username or local account with the username Hector. and the target that you want to connect. And we know that the IP address of the router is this one right here. Okay, we're prompt to, looks like we have connectivity. Now we need to provide a password. Let's see if that configuration is correct. Okay, good. Now we need to go to enable mode. Again, the password. Okay, good. Now we are in. We have successfully established an SSH connection. So this is the way, this is how you create a configuration on a router, right? Or a network device to establish a SSH connection and to configure secure passwords. So let's see, show configuration, running config. There you go. So all passwords has been encrypted.